So a couple of weeks ago, I uploaded an image of my studio and some of the work that I'm doing here. And what I've been trying to do is slowly integrate my Amiga 2000 back into the studio. It's been a lot of work because I had it offline for a long time, and that required a lot of hardware upgrading, replacement basically. I think the biggest challenge I had, took me a while, is I had to replace the power supply. I was getting all kinds of intermittent issues, and so that took me a while. I had to rip out the whole machine apart and replace the power supply, and then all the basic cleaning of the ribbons, changing the battery. The battery had leaked on the motherboard, and all the problems that I think people experience when they take their Amiga out of storage. I bought the machine in 1988. And when I bought it at the time, I was early in my career, starting involved in music and recording. And I actually have 3 SunRize cards in the machine. I know a lot of people are very jealous, but at the time, I was pretty cutting edge. This was before Pro Tools, before sort of non-linear editing had happened. I mean, the Amiga really started that probably about the same time as the Atari and the Mac, but I think the Amiga had a lot more power with respect to multitasking. It just didn't have the market and the popularity as Mac and Atari and Windows later machines. But needless to say, I spent quite a bit of time getting up and running, and I've been working with one of the software developers for Bars and Pipes, so Alfred, who I got to know over the web. Was kind enough to send me more later versions. He's still doing some development. I don't know how much, but he's super nice, and I'll provide a link for you guys to check in. But right now I'm running version 1.29, and he also was kind enough to send me some plugins because I was running SunRize and it was crashing because SunRize has specific plugins, accessories, and they weren't syncing up with Bars and Pipes. So basically in this world, I've got Bars and Pipes sort of synced up to SunRize, and I run SunRize as an instance because it has the ability to do that, which is great. That means things lock up. But what I do is with the Amiga is I use the Amiga as a slave to my other DAW. So on the left side, I've got a Mac Pro 2008, also in a home machine that's been modernized. And my main DAW here is Digital Performer. I've been using Digital Performer for a while. There are other there are other DAWs out there, Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, the list goes on. I always tell people just pick one that you like and just learn it well because they're all pretty much the same today. Keep in mind, back then with the Amiga, there weren't a lot of great DAWs. Early in my career, I was using Dr. T, and then once I found Bars and Pipes, which eventually got sold to Microsoft, unfortunately, I really fell in love with it. But because, as we all know, the Amiga started to get less popular with respect to recording software, and so I moved over to the Mac platform in the 90s. So that's kind of the story. And what I've been doing right now is really experimenting. I look at the Amiga as sort of a sound effect machine. You know, I'm a guitar player, so guitar players always look for sound. And what I've noticed about the Amiga is that when I'm recording on my Mac Pro, it's got a certain quality, and the MOTU equipment that I use, it's all 2408, pretty standard stuff, really provides a certain color. But I also love the color of the of the Amiga. So I'm going to play a small snippet of a tune that I'm working on, and things are synced up in real time. So what I'm able to do is, with a SMPTE time code up here, you can see it's at 132. The Amiga machine, through its accessories and tools and SMPTE timecode, actually locks up in real time, and I'm able to play. And so what I'll do is I'll play over here. So this is the studio here. I've got also an old D8B and a bunch of MIDI controllers, Mackie controllers. I'm just going to turn the volume down just so that you can see how things sync up. So here we've got, you can see the time code 136, and here's the time code linking up. So here's the 2 audio tracks from SunRize playing, and they're all sync up in real time. You could still hear a little bleed through because once I stop the machine, my equipment, the processor on my Amiga, which is a 68060, it caches everything, and it doesn't have the power to sort of buffer things down. So I always get a bit of a bleed. But it does sync up in real time, and it's great. I've got 3 SunRize cards, so technically I've got 24 sort of virtual tracks available, which is, back then, that was a huge amount of power. Today, it doesn't really matter because hardware is almost infinite, so you don't really think too much about tracks or CPU processing power. It's more about RAM, and any good machine today, a couple of grand, even a MacBook Pro, could handle workhorse. When I work with people that do orchestral film, you can do almost everything on a MacBook Pro these days. So my goal here is to sort of push this envelope, and I'm going to upload the song when I'm done and give you a chance to hear what it sounds like running the Amiga 2000, sort of slaved to everything else. So I hope you enjoy this little video clip, but hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll provide another update.